Today we are paddling north across the U.S.-Canadian border. Because we are arriving by boat, we need to land at a marina or pier that is designated as a marine reporting site, where we will call customs for clearance to continue onward. We are headed to Welshpool Wharf on Campobello Island in New Brunswick, Canada. But first, a quick stop in downtown Lubec to fuel up for breakfast. Welcome to Canada. We just crossed over from Lubec, Maine to Campobello, Canada. We're gonna land at Welshpool Wharf and check in there with customs. God, it's a beautiful day. This area is known for huge tidal exchanges, about 20 feet of tidal exchange in this area and large currents, but you would never know it today. It's at about slack tide. Right now, it is calm as can be. This is our arrival pier. Not quite sure how we're gonna get up there. Hopefully something better awaits around the other side.
About halfway up the Maine coast, someone asked if we knew how we were going to get across the border. Honestly, I had not really given it a lot of thought, much leading up to the trip. I figured boats cross the border all the time, and they do, but they are not human-powered and have registration. When we arrived in Lubec, I spent a few hours on the phone trying to see what needed to be done, only to find confusion on the other end of the line. Basically, I was told to show up at a marine port, call the Canadian Border Service Agency, or CBSA, and see what happens. We did determine that we needed to use the relatively new website called ArriveCan, often referred to as ArriveCan't. That does not denote hope. Provide ID and a destination address. Tough one, as we were just heading north in our boats and had no idea where we would land the first night. I found a campground across the border which would be our backup landing site that had a physical address, logged into ArriveCan and applied for entry. All seemed in order. We paddled over to Welshpool on the Canadian side of the border, called the CBSA and sat on hold for 45 minutes, hoping my phone battery would last. Only to find out, as we had separate vessels, no double kayak for us, we each needed to apply through ArriveCan on individual accounts and call back independently using the boat's manufacturer and the year it was made as our vessel registration. Another hour and a half on the phone, and Katie confirming she had no fruits and vegetables, but that she did indeed bring clothes, and we were good to go.
We have our clearance and arrival number. Had to do our ArriveCan online and then call in at the wharf. We are good to go.
We are in Canada, next to the Bay of Fundy, one bay over. I guess they tagged 100 great whites this summer in this bay, which I'm not quite sure how I feel about. But it is calm and placid today. Calm and placid. And check-in for Canada went pretty good. The only hookup is they were very concerned whether Katie brought clothes or not, but we assured them that she did have some clothes. Now we're going to Lake Placid over to a campsite. I mean, this is a place where there's mixed currents. So that must be a minke. That other one we saw had a bigger dorsal than that, didn't it? Yeah. It's so beautiful. Don't go into the light, but it's so beautiful. What do you think, Katie?
So cool. So cool. Ah. We really could have made a coffee table book titled Empty Adirondack Chairs of the Coast, given all the chairs we saw perched on beautiful lookouts with no humans to enjoy them. So when we saw this giant-sized Adirondack chair on the pier next to the restaurant, we felt obliged to sit in it for at least a moment to rest our full bellies. Watching our kayaks carefully from the window of the restaurant, we quickly devoured our fish tacos and returned to our kayaks just as the rising tide was lifting them. Precision timing. First night in Canada, we're headed to find a campsite. Campsites aren't designated, so kind of searching for a good landing spot on an island. And John finds a place for fish tacos and beer since we're fighting the current. So just stopped over, had just enough time for the tides to catch up with where our boats were beached. And we hopped in our boats just in time before the water caught them. And we're on our way to our campsite. One of the locals who was working at the bar confirmed that Sandy Island is a good place to camp, which is where we were headed. So nice confirmation from the locals that we're headed to the right spot. Beautiful evening, good food in our bellies. Life couldn't be better. Sightseeing, whale watching tour boat ahead of us. We saw porpoise in the bay. Just talked to some folks that saw minke whale and saw something surface ahead of us here a ways off. Can't tell if they're porpoise or if they're whale. It's hard to tell. I just got a glimpse of them. Sorry guys, passing through, just passing through.
This is our first Canadian boondog. We're gonna check out, see what's available. There's a little bit of trepidation and uncertainty, but it looks pretty fun. Oh, yeah, this is looking rough. Thought there might be a trail, but there's not. Go around and check the other side, I guess. Pretty though. Might be right there, Katie. Looks like the only spot, eh? I was kind of thinking this spot here. What do you think? Oh, stinky weed. So it's a beautiful morning here in Canada. Our second day in Canada. We got up early because the beach wasn't so nice. The little island we were on called Sandy. Okay, probably for a day visit, but kind of covered in dirt, garbage, and seaweeds, dried seaweed stunk.
a lot of bugs. So we made off early, or we think it's early. Time's a little elusive here because our phones keep bopping between US and Canada. I don't know what time it really is, but I think it's around 9:15 or 9:30 on a Sunday morning. Not a boat out here, placid waters, going against the current a little bit. And the training wheels are officially off for Katie. No more lobster pots. Just long expanses of water where you mentally have to commit yourself you're making headway when it's hard to tell. You have to learn how to look at the trees for greater detail to feel like you're getting closer. It's a bit of a challenge. But all you can do is one paddle stroke after the next. Eventually you'll get somewhere. Which is also elusive here in Canada. We don't have a real good guidebook. We don't really know where we can camp. So we're boondogging it a bunch, just finding a beach and setting up, and hopefully no one yells at us. Very, very beautiful out here today. Went through a little cove, saw two or three bald eagles, seals steam drying in the sun, lots of fish jumping. It's pretty amazing. I'm not sure I ever thought I'd be almost 50 years old and paddling up the Atlantic coast like we are for weeks. It's pretty great. Katie's gotten so strong, we lifted the boats almost fully loaded yesterday from the water up to our campsite, which wasn't an impossibly long carry, but man, the boats were heavy. I almost couldn't carry my boat. The back was just so heavy. I'll be feeling it tomorrow, I'm sure. So I don't know if you can see it, probably not, but there's a lighthouse directly in front of us. We're gonna head that direction and try and find some beach, maybe make some coffee. I can really help Katie motivate, maybe an egg wrap, which would be fabulous. And then we'll march on and see if we can find a place to set up a tent for the night. Make some plans for St. John, because the biggest next unknown is how are we gonna get our damn boats on the ferry. That's going to be an interesting process. But again, we're in Canada, so I'm sure someone will lend a hand. I don't know if you can see Katie. I will turn a bit so you can see her beautiful mango boat standing out in the world. There she is, stretching the back, because when the boats are heavy and the tide's not with you, it's a lot. What are Katie's thoughts on the day?
How flat calm it is. This is the Bay of Fundy, and it is like a lake. Yeah, that passage was neat. The seals sunning themselves on the rock with the steam coming off them. Out here though, very little wildlife, very few birds. A rare seal. Did you see the seal surface over there? Yeah, he just surfaced. I'm wondering what he's doing out here by himself, looking for breakfast. But otherwise, not a lot of wildlife out here. It's just a flat, calm lake. Kind of miss the lobster buoys of Maine to tell me if the current's with me or against me. But out here, there's no reference. I mean, you can look at the land, but it's so far away, it's hard to tell a difference between 2 knots or 2.5 knots. You can't tell from looking at faraway land. So
I can see the shadow from the lighthouse now. We're making pretty good time.
yeah. Since we entered Canada, we've come across many fishing weirs. Fishing weirs date back to ancient times. In fact, researchers off the coast of British Columbia investigated a fishing weir that they believe is 14,000 years old. Fishing weirs, made of stone, reeds, or wooden posts, are designed to trap fish in intertidal zones as the fish swim along with the current. Here in the Bay of Fundy, they're primarily used to fish herring. thought we might get lucky in the search for an early campsite today, but this site is a no-go. We pulled out the cook stove and cook kit, and at least John's wishes for a morning coffee and an egg bagel sandwich were fulfilled.
We picked a beach on the map and headed for it. We found it covered in garbage, but felt with satellite views we were far enough away from any development to not be a bother to anyone. No roads, bay wrapped on both sides by a rocky peninsula. Who could we be bothering? With camp set up, making dinner, down the beach someone appears, as if out of nowhere, metal detecting on the cobblestone beach. Eventually he came over to us and told us he was the owner of the property. His name was Angus and gave no tone of disjointedness over our stay on his land. He proved to be a nice guy who just liked to buy land. There are some old logging roads that allow him to get to the beach, and he even commented that maybe he would make it into a campground someday. Thanks for the spot, Angus.